This is the Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live from the KVNT studios, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Well, Nick Burnham, Aquaholic, YouTube, headquartered in the United Kingdom. Nick has really a global appeal with over 160,000 subscribers and nearly 35 million views of some of the most, I tell you, luxurious and specialized yachts you're ever going to see on the high seas. He launched his channel back in January 2016, and I'm telling you, its popularity, its momentum is really notable, and you can see that in the comments and the positivity. If you don't own a yacht, and most of you probably don't, or maybe you haven't even owned or purchased a boat whatsoever, you're going to still find value, maybe dream a bit by subscribing to Aquaholic on YouTube. So, Nick, my friend, good evening in the United Kingdom.
Good evening to you too. I understand it's the morning over there.
That's correct. That's right. It's 8:35 now. I think we're 9 hours different. So you're about to, it's about toddy time and dinner time for you, correct?
Very much so. Absolutely.
Well, the obvious questions in the beginning, and we're hoping we'll make a video out of this and share on our Tom Anderson Show YouTube channel so people can see, and you can certainly spread the joy so your fans will get a little glimpse of you. How did you get started in your professional marine media endeavor? Because you're just such a joy, and I think you're going to have exponential subscribers in the next few years. How did you get started in all this?
By accident, I think, is probably the fairest way to describe it, as these things so often are. So I've been into boats for a long time. As a child, I was obsessed by boats. And then when I was 20, I saw a job advertised as a yacht broker or a trainee yacht broker, and I applied for that and got it and had 20 happy years as a yacht broker. And then in 2009, we hit the recession in the UK in a fairly big way, and the company that owned the office that I worked in decided to get rid of a few people in a few offices, one of which was mine and part of which was me. And that's when I went into media. So I started writing about boats, and then from there I got into photographing boats and so on. And I started writing for boat magazines, Motorboat and Yachting, Boat International, various others, and built up some momentum with that. And the YouTube thing really was just somewhere to hang a few of my own videos, or a few videos that never got used that I'd filmed for other people. And it just sort of spiraled from there, really. It's just one of those crazy things.
Yeah, your parlance and your knowledge of the industry really, I think, impresses people, and you do it so humbly. And I figured you had some background. Now, you mentioned as a kid you loved books and you loved to read about and learn about. Did you ever read C.S. Forester's Hornblower series?
No, I'm afraid not. No, I grew up on Arthur Ransom's Swallows and Amazons and that whole series of books. That was really where it sort of started for me.
I love it. Well, so when you hear the word yacht, at least for me, I think indulgently of 150, we use feet, English measures, plus boat, vessel. And from what I've researched, there's some go by an international commercial code, and you can explain that. Maybe it's a governance of size. I read somewhere 79 feet was the lowest length to actually refer to a vessel as a yacht. Then I saw in the 30s, which, 30 feet in America is a recreational vehicle, a motorhome. How is that designated? What becomes a yacht and then a super yacht?
Well, a yacht is a very elastic title, and it used to refer basically to sailing boats and then to really big motorboats, really sort of, stately gentlemen's motor cruiser type things would be called yachts. But because it's quite a prestigious title, of course, what's tend to happen is that boat manufacturers in particular, if they're sort of quite upmarket, they kind of banish the word boat and they call all their products yachts. And so it's kind of stretched down. So now even you're seeing 30-foot, 40-foot boats being called yachts. And certainly as far as Aquaholic is concerned, I tend to refer to everything as yacht tours, just to make it easy, because we try to sort of differentiate between motorboats and motor cruisers and speedboats and all that. So anything really is a yacht tour until you hit 24 meters. Now 24 meters, and this is actually load line length, so it's slightly technical, but very roughly, anything over 24 meters pretty much is a super yacht. And so in feet terms, that's sort of 86 feet and above. So to make it easy, anything on the channel that's over 86 foot, that's a super yacht tour. Anything below it is a yacht tour. And in fact, then there's other designations which are, again, extremely elastic as to what is a mega yacht and what is a giga yacht. But the only one that's really set down at all in terms of industry standard is super yacht, and that is, as I say, 24 meters load line length, and typically that's around about 85 to 90 feet roughly.
Aquaholic is the name of his YouTube channel. He's a sensation. He has such a large fan base, and his thoughtfulness, you have to see it to understand. You can relax with a glass of wine or whatever your libation favorite is, and you can sit back, and if you're ever stressed, that's when or you want to dream, you can watch Aquaholic, you can you can follow, you can see, live vicariously through Nick and his tours. Your most recent video highlights the Galleon 425 HTS. I saw it posted this morning, and you're in Southampton on that one. That one's out of the water. I'm assuming, Nick, that your tours are typically when the vessel you overview is like moored at a dock or a harbor. And so that means you have to decide what harbor, what dock, what place are you going to go, to whom you'll connect with to get approval. And then, what vessel you're going to choose. And I would think it could be a logistical headache without a lot of preparation. So how do you decide on what yacht you're going to video tour, the place, and then how do you connect with the management company? Kind of what's your process for this visual tour?
Well, I'm very fortunate in having been in the industry for a long time. First of all in sales, and then obviously for the last 10 years as a marine journalist. And so I have a lot of contacts, both with dealers, with brokers, and with manufacturers. And I know people in these areas quite well. And so really it's just staying in touch with people and finding out what people have got and where it is. And I obviously don't get to decide where the boat is. I just get told, well, we've got this is up in Southampton. And then somebody else might say, we've got this down in Plymouth. And then I'll try and set up to come and see it and tour it. Boat shows as well, of course, is a very good source of video because all the boats are there and they're all set up and they're looking fantastic and the latest models are there. The problem with boat shows, of course, is everybody else is at boat shows. So that can be rather busy and that has its own challenges. But it's really just a case of having a network of people. And as Aquaholic has got bigger and busier and more popular, and also one or two people are finding that they're selling boats because of it. They've had people who've come to them and say, well, interested in buying whatever it might be, that 60-foot boat. And it turns out when they talk to the customer that they came across this boat on Aquaholic. So of course that now leads to a situation where I'm starting to find that dealers and manufacturers are now contacting me and saying, hey, we've got this boat, it's whatever it might be, 50 foot, whatever, do you want to come and do a video of it? And so it's starting to shift now, a little bit less from me chasing everybody to people starting to come to me, which is nice.
Well, I would hope that you get sponsorships. You're clearly a brilliant fellow and you're thoughtful in your presentation. You got the look, you got the voice, you have all of that, but you also have the YouTube channel. And it's not just thoughtful. You jumped in on a question I had and you answered it, which is, are people actually saying, I'm going to use his information to purchase? And you answered the question, yes. And then that means manufacturers and the folks in the industry are calling you. And that's good to know. That's really good to know. Now, we're going to bounce to a break here, and then we're going to come right back with Aquaholic Nick Burnham. But I do have one other question, a kind of a fun one. From 1984 to the mid-90s, British entertainment reporter Robin Leach hosted Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And sometimes your hosting and tour style reminds me of Robin. Do you get compared? I mean, you're better looking, you're bigger, but do you get compared to him ever?
I do get compared to him. I also get compared to David Attenborough. Apparently, I'm the David Attenborough of yacht tours. And there's also a very popular YouTuber in America called Doug Monoro, who does cars. And a lot of people mention him as well. So, yeah, I get compared to a lot of these guys, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All three, I would agree. And the Attenborough, for sure. Well, his name is Nick Burnham. Aquaholic on YouTube. That's the channel. I encourage you to subscribe. You got to check out the videos. You're going to thank me. You're going to say, Tom, you were spot on. We're coming right back with him here on The Tom Anderson Show.
This is the Tom Anderson Show, broadcasting live from the KVNT studios, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Well, bow thrusters and pod drives and swiveling joysticks. Oh my, I can't keep up with all the vernacular in his industry, but Nick Burnham joins us. He is the Aquaholic, and his YouTube channel, certainly a sensation. And you know what? Not just in the UK, and not just in on a coastal town in France, and not just in the United States, but it's global. And so, Nick, I have to ask you, when you do go through your video this morning as an example, and folks, I encourage you to watch that one, the Galleon 425 HTS, and he's in Southampton looking at that, you discover in nooks and crannies, maybe in that one a cabinet, and you open up a compartment and there's a boat system panel and a thruster switch and a circuit breaker. Do you prepare assiduously and detailed before you tour a yacht, or do you leave some surprise for the viewers?
I usually tend to walk through the boat first. I've generally got a fairly good idea of what it's about. If it's a boat I'm not sort of familiar with at all, then I'll maybe do a bit of research online. If it's a really big boat, so I did a Sunseeker 131 yacht last year, which was, as the name suggests, it's 130 feet long. It's 3 decks, and it's absolutely massive. It's a magnificent, magnificent yacht. And on that one, I spent the evening before, not so much looking at the details, but actually trying to work out a route around the boat, because what I don't want to do is keep doubling back on myself and saying, hey, here's the thing we saw 2 minutes ago. Oh, here we go through it again. So you have to try and pan a route that will take you through the boat with as little crossover of what you've done before. So I do that, but mostly, particularly at boat shows, for example, at boat shows, time is very, very tight. It's great for getting onto a lot of different boats, but clearly the exhibitors don't want me there for any longer than necessary. They want me to film it, but they don't want me to spend all day on it. And so with those, it's literally a case of I walk around the boat once for a quick look, usually with the dealer or the manufacturer, and they can point out, well, we've got this, which does something clever, and we do this. And then I walk around it, and at boat shows in particular, I get one hit. I literally get to go walk in, walk around, step back off, and I'm done. So it's all done in one take. And I think that, again, is part of the novelty of it for people, is the fact that they're seeing this thing almost in real time. They're getting the actual experience of walking through it with me. And yeah, for sure, like on that Galleon, you're quite right. I opened that cupboard and found another little compartment in the back and thought, well, let's have a look in here. And so there are always things like that that I find as I go around, which I hadn't perhaps prepared for. And there's a classic actually on the previous video I did, which funny enough was also a Galleon. It was a 305, and I opened a compartment and said, let's have a look in here, open the compartment. And I just had to say, I've no idea what that is, and close it again, because there's a little thing in there. And to this day, I don't know what it was. It was a little vent or something like that. So yeah, there's the occasional surprise coming up for sure.
That was the $1 million question. Has the great Nick Burnham, the Aquaholic, ever discovered a mechanism or something on a boat vessel that you didn't know? So you answered that question. Well, we talked about, and I hope you get sponsorships. You have manufacturers that say, hey, Nick, please, you're a sensation, you're a celebrity, you're becoming a titan in this field, certainly of the reviews and media. Would you please tour our vessel? Do you go to other countries? I've seen you in a few, and do you have to foot the bill for that? Or does someone, you should start a Patreon, crowdsource funding, something so that we can help you go to other places.
I actually make, and it surprised me because I never expected to, say this whole thing has come about by accident, and it's been a huge, huge learning curve, but I actually make a fairly decent income from the YouTube revenue, which surprised me. I didn't ever think I would, but it has. And so that covers all the expenses, the travel and that sort of thing. And I deliberately don't ever take anything from the manufacturers or the dealers, because I don't want it to become a sponsored thing, and I don't want the manufacturer to be able to say, okay, we're paying you to do this, so we want you to do this, we want you to say that, we want you to show this, we don't want you to show that. I don't want that to happen. So no, I don't actually get any money. Occasionally I get things like, for example, I went down to Cannes in the south of France. They have a fantastic boat show down there, really amazing. and Sunseeker, which is a very big British brand, very prestigious, and I do quite a bit with them, and was planning some videos with them. And they have they hire a couple of vehicles and drivers, quite nice vehicles, to run their customers in and out from the airport. So they very kindly organised to pick me up in a very nice Range Rover and run me into Cannes from Nice airport, and then to run me back afterwards. So they'll help out, but financially they don't, and I don't ask them to, because I don't think it's fair. And also the Patreon thing, I've seen a couple of people do that, but again, I kind of don't see why somebody who's watching my videos should then pay me some money. I mean, the fact they're watching the videos is what makes the channel. So they're already doing their bit as far as I'm concerned, and thank you to all of you that do watch. So that's kind of how it works, but it does earn a reasonable amount, and it covers all the bills, and makes me a little bit as well. So it's all good.
Do you have a favorite boat show and a favorite port? I mean, I'm sure you have a list of them, and you're not going to name one, but any in particular that you could, or cite a video that you've posted that you really find endearing?
I enjoy going down to the south of France very much. I like it down there. There's the Cannes boat show that I just mentioned, but also I've been down there. I mentioned the Sunseeker 131 earlier, and that was in Cannes. So it wasn't a boat show. I just went down to visit that boat. And Cannes is always beautiful. It's a stunning, stunning place. So that's nice. I went to Florida and to the Miami boat show for the first time this year in February, before we had all the lockdown and everything. That was great. And it's the first time, I've been to America a few times, but it's the first time to Miami. And the funny thing is, I'm a massive, massive Miami Vice fan. And part of the success of Aquaholic is down to the fact that when I started in journalism, I did a feature on the Miami Vice boat that had been restored, the Scarab that's in it. It's a very high performance and beautiful powerboat from the 80s, this is. And I made some video, and that's on Aquaholic, and that was the first thing that was really a success and got the channel sort of up and running. So it was great to actually visit Miami. The boat, when I saw it, wasn't in Miami, it was in Ohio. And I actually took a day afterwards and spent a day going around to some of the Miami Vice locations, and actually there's a video on Aquaholic. So if you're into Miami Vice, go and have a look at that, because it's what all the Miami Vice locations from the 80s look like now. So that was good fun.
I watched it. It's a great video, and I think there would be a lot of people that would like that nostalgia. We have interviewed in our YouTube channel notable hosts like yourself series here on the Tom Anderson Show. We've interviewed like slot machine players, or hot chili peppers, or competitive food eaters, or for flying, similar to you folks that, that fly in a plane and then kind of encapsulate videography-wise their experience. And they have camaraderie with other YouTube channel hosts in their same niche or genre. Do you have the same? And I don't know of any others, actually. I only watch you, but are there others, and do you collaborate?
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little WhatsApp group we have of about half a dozen of us. And what's nice is we all do slightly different things. So Bob Denison from Denison Yachts is in there, and he's a yacht broker in America, and has a really fantastic YouTube channel. They've really embraced it. But his videos are very different to mine, because they're sales videos and they're very, very high end. And he was great because he actually organized some yacht tours for me when I was out in Miami, which was very kind of him. David Seal, he's got a channel called Yachts for Sale. He's part of our little group. And again, he's a broker, so he's doing incredibly high end, helicopter shots and some really beautiful cinematography. There's also a super yacht captain, a guy called Tristan Mortlock, who is another UK guy, but he actually captains a super yacht. It's a charter boat, and so he makes videos about that, which also helps to promote the boat, of course. So there are a few of us in this little group, and we kind of help each other out where we can. And I've certainly done a collaboration with super yacht captain with Tristan. I did a tour of his boat. I've met David a couple of times. We keep planning things, but we've not quite worked it out yet. I've done stuff with Denison Yacht. So yeah, we try and work together and help each other out. And the beauty of YouTube is it's not too competitive, because most of us, even though we're in the same area, we're doing different things with it. So we're not stepping on each other's toes. And there's so much room on YouTube. So even if you are doing things that are fairly close, I think it's not like, for example, if you're doing a boat magazine, you're trying to make your boat magazine the best, and every other boat magazine is the enemy, and you're trying to beat them. But people don't, with a boat magazine, they'll walk into their news agents and they'll think, shall I choose that one, or shall I choose that one? I'll choose that one, and they'll take it away. So hence you're competing with them. But with YouTube, of course, there's no limits. People can watch my video, and then they can go and watch one of David's videos, and they can go and watch one of Bob's videos, and then they can come back to one of mine.
And they can watch them all. No, Nick, it makes sense. And I love the fact that you have such thoughtful camaraderie with them. His name is Mick Burnham, Aquaholic on YouTube. He's a sensation. Trust my judgment, everybody. And we're going to post the other channels that he referenced, and certainly information on his. Get his shirts at Teespring. Follow him. Connect with him. Follow him on Facebook. I've done it all. It's a joy. You'll thank me. Nick, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you very much indeed. It's been great to be on.
Absolutely. Again, Aquaholic on YouTube. And this is The Tom Anderson Show.